Hi everyone! Year 2020, Emirates had to say goodbye to thousands of its crew because of the pandemic. And quite recently, Emirates sent an email to those crew that it had to say goodbye to. And I know this for a fact because I got that email. In this episode today, I will be sharing to you what the content is of that email and also what my thoughts are. A little bit of a background of myself, especially if you're new to this channel. Again, my name is Mae. I was a cabin crew. I worked for Emirates Airline for 12 years. And when I left Emirates, I was a first-class cabin crew. I worked in the first-class cabin for more than 7 years. That cabin is beautiful. Year 2019, I gave birth to my son, and I still flew after that. However, 2020, I planned to resign. My husband and I wanted to raise our son in my hometown, which is in Bukidnon. And again, 2020 pandemic happened. Emirates had to let go to thousands of its crew. I was due for contract renewal on August, and my contract was not renewed given the circumstance. Thankfully, everything aligned for me. I'm now at home in the Philippines as planned. We came home to raise our son in this beautiful hometown called Bukidnon. So that's my story in a nutshell. Now back to the main point. Again, Emirates had to say goodbye to thousands of its crew last year, 2020. And quite recently, days ago in fact, Emirates sent an email to those crew that it had to say goodbye to. I was one of them. So if I may read to you the email, it says, subject of the email, future opportunities, cabin crew. Dear Mae, I hope you are well. The global vaccination program has allowed many countries to amend their protocols and ease entry restrictions, which means we can open more destinations and increase frequencies. We've mapped up our operations to reflect this positive trend in demand, but we still remain cautious in managing our resources to be as efficient as possible. At this stage, we're inviting cabin crew interested in rejoining Emirates to register their interest on the Emirates Group Careers website. This is not a callback at this stage, but rather an expression of interest, so we are ready to reactivate when the time is right. It is our hope to bring as many of our ex-colleagues as possible. Please click here, Cabin Crew Opportunities link to access the form. This is an automated message. Please do not reply to this mailbox. Kind regards, HR Operations Team. That's what it says. All right, so what do I think? I will be sharing to you what my thoughts are regarding the content of the email. Well, not my feelings. My feelings will be on the next vlog because it will be a long one. But my thoughts, and I will be as objective as possible. Number one, it's great news. For Emirates to have been the #1 airline in the world several times, it means that it's very good at making calculated risks. And for Emirates to have sent this email to thousands of crew, for sure it has already made a calculated forecast as to how the trend will be, particularly how airline travel will perform in the next coming years. And the calculated forecast must be very positive. In the email, it says that the vaccination program has really made several countries ease its protocols and restrictions, which is good. Even if Emirates wants to fly to all destinations, if a country says, no, I'm not accepting any aircrafts to land in my airport, then there's definitely going to be no aircraft landing at that airport. So that's good news. It means that the vaccination program has been effective. Countries are now slowly opening its gates again and welcoming people from all parts of the world. So that is definitely a good news. Number two, I think that Emirates trying to collect the interest of the crew who it had to say goodbye to is a very cost-effective move. Why do I say this? If countries are easing its restrictions, Emirates will definitely fly to those countries. Emirates has hundreds of aircrafts waiting to fly. And having said that, Emirates will require thousands of crew. If Emirates would hire new people, well then that's good also. That's great news. A lot of people also want to become cabin crew. However, new people means lesser if not no experience. And also, given that the frequency will increase, Emirates will not only need people who will work in economy, which is the basic and the entry-level grade, because again, during the pandemic, Emirates had to let go to thousands of its crew from the economy, which is the basic rank, from business class, first class, supervisory level, and also managerial level. So Emirates will need people from all grades. Bottom line, Emirates will need crew from all ranks. The strategic move to fill those positions would be to get the people who knows the job and who knows the job very well. What happened in the airline industry was unexpected. So when Emirates had to let go of its crew, it wasn't because of a bankruptcy due to financial mismanagement, right? It was because of a pandemic. So the crew that it had to let go were amazing crew. These were crew who loved their job. These were crew who really performed well. And I say this because I know a lot of this crew. I flew with a lot of them, and getting them back, it's going to be a win-win for both parties. Why? A lot of crew dreamt of retiring in that job. Emirates was going to be the last company that they will be working for before they reach retirement age. I flew with a lot of crew who had that sentiment, and they were let go year 2020. B, some crew depended largely on the financial rewards of the job, because for a fact, Emirates is really generous to the crew. I say that based on my experience, and I think, it will always be relative, but for me, I believe that Emirates is very generous. If I may give you some figures based on my experience, 12 years ago when I joined Emirates, of course, my entry point was as an economy crew. I think that time I would earn minimum 75 to 80,000 pesos a month. And that does not include the allowance I would get every layover, meaning every time I slept in another country. And as an example, when we would do layovers in the Philippines for 24 hours, we would get, say, 3,600 pesos for 24 hours. Or if we would go to Zurich, for example, that's Switzerland, for one day, we would get an allowance of more than 7,000, 8,000 pesos for one day. And you could just multiply that to how many layovers you do every month. And also, if you're someone who used to live in company accommodation, which is provided by Emirates for free, and say you decide to live out because you got married, Emirates is generous enough to give you a housing allowance. And when I left, I think the housing allowance was around, if I can just compute it, that would be pretty much 730,000 a year. So Emirates gives that generously to you. And having said that, apart from the accommodation allowance, Emirates will provide for you a furniture loan with no interest. Okay, and that furniture loan is like around 15,000 dirhams. That was during my time. So that would be around 200,000 pesos. Emirates will lend you that money, payable, I think, in 1 year or 2 years, something like that. And Emirates will let you borrow that, no interest. So that's for your accommodation. Now let's go to your transportation allowance. My time, Emirates was giving us 440 dirhams, so that would be around 6,000 pesos. So that amount I would use for petrol or for taxi fares. And again, the good thing is whatever it is that Emirates gives you, your allowance, your accommodation allowance, the furniture loan, that's all for you. Emirates will give it to you, and it's up to you what you want to do it. Do you want to save it or do you want to spend it? It's up to you. So this is why I say a large number of crew were really dependent on the financial rewards of Emirates. And again, because the pandemic was an unforeseen circumstance, a lot of the people were not prepared. So having said this, with Emirates trying to recall back its crew, I would be very happy if I see the people that I know who really treated flying with Emirates as the last job before they retire. I will really, really be happy if I get to see one day on Facebook or on social media, see my ex-colleagues who were let go, flying again, doing what they love and doing what they do best. Because for those 12 years that I flew, I have met and seen crew who were really hardworking, who were really assets to the company, who really loved the job, and that love really radiated the customers to the crew. And because of the pandemic, they were also let go. So if I get to see them again, hopefully even in social media, them performing, them flying up in the air, that would really, really make me happy. So again, it's going to be a win-win situation. Win for Emirates because that's going to be cost effective, and win for the crew as well. So that second point was quite long. Now I'll proceed to my third and last point. I believe that sending that email to the ex-crew that it had to let go is a very, very safe move. Why do I say this? Because if things really go as planned, if country restrictions really ease for good, then Emirates can hire as many ex-colleagues as possible, and that would be wonderful, right? However, if, say for example, things don't go as planned, Emirates will adjust. Say for example, if their forecast was to rehire 5,000 crew, they can always go down to 2,000 and 1,000, and the people need not know, right? The media need not know. So again, with Emirates gauging the interest of the crew that it had to let go last year. Number one, it's great news. Number two, it's cost effective. And number three, it is a safe move. So there you go, guys. That's my assessment of the email that was sent to thousands of the crew. In my next video, I will be sharing to you what my feelings are regarding that email, if I miss flying, if I want to reapply, and if I express my interest in rejoining. All those and more on my next video. Once again, thank you very much for watching. As always, take care, stay safe. I'll see you again in my next video. Bye!